I recall in one of our lectures we were in when I was studying hotel and restaurant management a long time ago, our marketing lecturer said if you're looking at starting a new restaurant, the first place you should look at is where the McDonald's are and look at setting up close by. Reason being, they've done their homework and there's a good chance that's where the hungry crowd is. That theory may not be as true now as it was 35, 40 years ago, because there's been so many franchises around, some do their homework and some don't. Anyway, here we're discussing, when you're starting a restaurant, should you go franchise or independent? Location selection. Now, especially the larger franchises, they normally do a bit of homework, find out which areas demand. They've got other properties around, other businesses around. They know which are doing well, which are not doing so well. They see what the future demand is, how it's growing. So they probably try to put more operations closer to the busier areas because I know the demand's there and it's growing. I'm not sure how the smaller operators operate, how much homework they do. They've got a general idea, but I don't know whether they do as much homework as the larger ones. I'm sure there's a few small ones that really do a lot of work, but it's a generalization. Negotiating leases. Now, negotiating a lease is not easy if you're an experienced person, unless you've got an experienced restaurant coach who's very good with commercial real estate leases. It could be problems. Franchisors, on the other hand, they do leases all the time. They're there to help you. They can negotiate the best possible lease for you and work with the landlord. Because one of the difficult things in buying a business or setting up a restaurant is getting landlord approval. Now, especially if you've got little or no experience, if you try to get into these locations where these larger franchisors are, you'll have difficulty because you wouldn't have the business background or the financial background to back it up. That's other videos on that. We'll discuss in more detail. So landlord approval is very important. Setup. If you're operating independently, you've got to organise your own designers, do your own homework, get fitters and that sort of thing. Whereas a franchisor has usually got a certain amount of suppliers they work with. They've got certain designs, certain equipment that's been proven over the years to work efficiently, easy to maintain, and cost effective. So they've got standard setups and regular contractors, maintenance contracts. Now, because they use the same contractors all the time, they usually follow up with maintenance agreements with them to ensure that their equipment is working all the time. Whereas if you're independent, you have to organise your own contracts, find your own maintenance people to ensure they're working all the time. And you wouldn't know which equipment is more efficient than others unless you've got some experience in it or you're working with someone who can help you in that respect. Marketing. You would think that marketing would be cheaper with a larger franchise because they franchise over the whole group, but it depends on how they're marketing. You can always check that out. Look at their social media, look at their paid advertising. A good digital marketer will be able to work out how much they're spending on marketing on Facebook and Google AdWords and that sort of thing, and how it's corresponding with traffic and what sort of queries that traffic is asking for. So they're asking to go general to McDonald's near me, or how it is. Find out how that marketing is and how effective it is for you. Does it work for the brand name itself to sell their particular business brand, or does it work for your individual location? The same thing with websites. Look at their website, see how the inquiries are coming in. What are people asking? Suppliers, purchasing, and goods and services. Most franchisors deal with a select amount of suppliers, and they've organised good deals over the years. So they're proven to be fairly reliable, and they've got contracts with them. And they're reliable, they've got the specifications ready according to their menu items. So work with them to see what the contract's available. Some franchisors might allow you to use your own contractors, but check with suppliers and see how good they are, how their prices compare, how their quality compares, etc. That's something you should negotiate with your franchisor. Staff training, again, you've got that backup of staff training. The franchisors usually are there to train your staff, train you in the systems they've got to make sure they're all working perfectly well. And there's a problem, new staff members, they can come in and help you out. Whereas independent, got to organize your own staff training, own job descriptions, that sort of thing. Accounting systems, franchisors normally have the point of sale, accounting systems, same systems throughout all their network. They've been proven over time to work effectively for them. So usually they're pretty good systems. But again, you may have the option of choosing your own system, compare it. If you've got someone working with you, you can see the cost effectiveness. It costs them too much money to maintain their system. But most franchisors will insist they use a system. And they keep track of your sales performance as well, which is good. And it's got its advantages and obviously got some disadvantages as well. Buying a franchisor. Usually franchise businesses are around about double the price of independent ones. So you've got to see whether that is an advantage for you or not. Definitely for an inexperienced person, there is a big advantage, but it depends. If you've got someone working with you who can help you in a dependent situation and back you up with staff training, systems, setting up, that sort of thing, you've got to go that way. But you've got a reputation of a franchisor, there's someone to fall back on if something goes wrong. So it's a big plus. So you've got to work it out. It's worth the extra cost. More importantly, a franchise operation is not a set and forget system. I know we all want to have passive businesses, but got to have some reasonable amount of business knowledge and put reasonable effort in it. Because no matter how good the systems are, if you don't stick to those systems the way they're set up, you still may have problems. Now, the most important thing, how do you set up? At some stage, you will have to sell up. Now, that's a very important thing you should think of when you buy the business. I keep saying to my clients, think about how you're going to sell a business, exit plan when you buy it. This is what I recommend you should ask them. How do I go about selling the business if I want to move out of the business? How do I go about selling the business? What is the process? And some insist you've got to sell through them. Some don't mind you going through trying to sell it yourself or through a broker. The interesting part will be asking, how would you calculate your sales price? That is a very interesting question because I've had franchisees have tried to sell their businesses and got little for their businesses, lost a lot of money. Now, there's very reasons why it would happen. Maybe they were bad operators, they broke the rules or whatever they did. All fairness to the franchisors, but you got to have a fair idea what the value of your business will be down the track. And if you halve your sales or what's your anticipated sales, if you reach that peak, what will be worth? Will they be willing to buy it from you or sell it for you at that particular price? Or will they just say, you're on your own, mate? So think about these things when you're looking at buying a franchise operation or independent operation. Obviously, situation where you may buy an existing restaurant which is running. It's just a matter of fine-tuning things as you go along. But you haven't got that backup unless you've got a restaurant coach, someone helping along. So consider all these things when looking at starting a restaurant. If you like more videos like this, please share and like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is Tastzidis from Best Restaurant Results.